I'm Al McFarland. Welcome to The Conversation with Al McFarland. I'm glad to be here and glad to have you along as well. Today's program focuses on an important event, an institution being built, focusing on the legacy of our community, on wealth building, and particularly how we as Black men go about the business of taking care of our business. How do we build legacy? Build family, build community, build society. Well, it's going to be a wonderful program coming up this Saturday at the Regional Acceleration Center. We call it the Thor Building at 1256, I believe is the address, Penn Avenue North. I'm going to confirm that that's the right address. At 1256 Penn Avenue North in Minneapolis, the fifth floor. And it's being presented, the conference, Black Men's Legacy Summit 4, being presented by the Build Wealth Minnesota organization and its partners. I have the fortune of being invited again to participate as a panelist and moderator of one of the panels. Obviously, we'll be covering this important event, a lot of rich conversations, rich storytelling, all leading us towards the destinies that we are obliged to create. And those destinies are ones that reflect our will to build community, to build society, to build family, and to build wealth. Well, joining me is one of the architects of the event, and that's Brother Jeffrey Robinson. And Jeffrey's invited a special partner to be part of this conversation as well. Jeffrey, let me say hi to you first of all. How you doing, brother? There we go. Hey, Jeffrey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Al?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see you, and thank you for joining me on this.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Enjoy it every time we get a chance to sit back and just wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, let's bring in, if we have him, I don't know if Jonte is available, but let's bring him in as well. Let me let you introduce him.
And this is a dear partner of ours, Jonte Washington, the Twin Cities realtor. I see this brother flyers up all over North Minneapolis, and he's been doing a heck of a job of bringing Black families and getting them into position to purchase a home.
Okay. And Jared, maybe you can put us on screen where we're three side by side if possible. Let me know if you can make that layout happen right now. There's two on top and one in the bottom. I would prefer if we were in three. There we go. That's the look that I want. Brother Jonte, good afternoon. Welcome to the conversation with Al McFarland. Talk about yourself and your business, man.
Yes. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be able to join in on your show. A little bit about myself, real estate agent, single dad. And a lot of my goals is really just trying to give the world what I didn't have growing up, which was some stability. And I think through home ownership and just adding that to that wealth component, just could change the life and direction of so many others. And that's what I aim to do. And, I would love to be a continued part of that.
Well, I'm going to ask you to take a deep dive on what you do, your business, and what your vision, your philosophy are, and things like that. But what I want to do, first of all, is focus on this Saturday. Jeffrey, Let me ask you and make sure that over the course of this conversation, we keep inviting people to show up and to, I think there might not be any room left, but they need to know about it, right? And maybe they can catch a live stream. We don't know yet, but they certainly can follow this in the reporting that we're going to do at Insight News of the event and beyond the event. But let's describe what this Legacy Summit is. What's the vision and what's going to happen?
Wow, thank you, Al. So just in general, the overall theme of the Black Men's Legacy Summit is to take away every excuse. Now, I'm not talking about some excuse. I'm talking about every single last excuse a Black man can think of as to why they should not start working on building a legacy for their family today. Not tomorrow, but right now, today. And so, but this year's theme is ensuring the legacy with an E, guaranteeing the legacy, making sure that it's going to happen. And so we have a lot of different, some great panels that's lined up. We have Michael E. Dyson, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, that's going to be joining us to get a keynote speaker, specifically talking about ensuring the legacy. And we have some other ones that's out there as well. What does it mean to have or be a legacy? What's the black man's role in creating a legacy? Sometimes you look on the news out and it's like they forgot about us. You know what I'm saying, Jonte? Like we're not even here anymore. Like we not even we've been counted out, man. And like one of the Roberts say, don't count me out. Don't count me out. What's the black man role in creating a legacy for their family and for their community? Home ownership to establish a legacy. We are 9,000 Equities, and Jonte is a 9,000 Equities partner, and our goal is to help 9,000 black families build 9,000 legacies through home ownership. And so, of course, we're going to talk about home ownership because that's the number one, historically, that's the number one way to build wealth worldwide. It's not, yeah, okay, you can build wealth in a business, but there's more workers than there are business owners. And that's always been the case. And so for the average person, home ownership is the route. The next one has to do with ensuring your legacy and with an I, because now you got to protect it. What happens if the house catches on fire, Jonte, and there's no insurance?
Listen, you have completely lost that entire asset, and it's probably be more of a liability to you at that point than anything else.
It becomes detrimental. In the last conversation we're talking about, as far as the presentation is going to be, last year we talked about estate planning and planning your legacy, and we got so much great feedback from that. We wanted to bring two of the attorneys that was there, Lee Lafayette and also Arthur Ray McCoy, to then just talk about planning your legacy. Because this year, Al, we're a big fan of striking while the iron is hot. You can't get people hot and motivated and then don't have a call to action. And so our call to action that day is going to be for people to actually start the process of creating a plan for their family. And so the lawyers have provided us with a paper form that a person could fill out, as well as a QR code for those who are tech savvy, a little younger than us, you know what I'm saying, who like to do everything from their phone, that they can actually begin the process of completing a questionnaire to help them with thinking through those initial steps and take those initial steps to creating a plan for their family. We wanted to do a will, right? To have people do a will. And after we talked to the attorneys, what came up? They was like, you know what? Sometimes a will isn't the best thing. Sometimes a will is not going to prevent you from going to probate. And so if we just focused in on a will and put the will out there, we might actually be doing a disservice. Yeah, like for real, like, okay, because if they don't get all these things, because of all the technicalities that's associated with putting together a will to prevent you from going to probate, that actually just doing a will and not having somebody to legally talk you through each one of those steps, that can become detrimental to your legacy plan. And before you know it, the thing that you were trying to avoid, you actually jumped into a fast lane and got there a lot quicker. And you were not able to avoid it. And so this year, the Legacy Summit, we're just continuing on it, continuing on in the vision that we started out 4 years ago, which is helping Black men get into position to be able to build a legacy for their family.
That's amazing. Jared, would you put up the poster? And I'm going to have you introduce, the people that that we are presenting in the summit. We'll have that up, and you can kind of walk through kind of the storyline. You did it already, but it's also good to show it with the faces of the people that are going to be presenting. I'll put it up. There we go. So walk us through who all's there.
Yeah, so in the top left corner, my left, your right, we're looking at Dr. Michael Eric Tyson. He's going to be doing the keynote, which is ensuring with an E, ensuring your legacy. How to ensure our legacy. The to the right of him is actually David McGee, the executive director of Bill Walk, Minnesota. That's like you talking about a visionary. You
Mhm.
can't, man. That I've been working with David, with Mr. McGee, Dr. McGee, since 2003 on and off, and I can tell you that um, yeah, we've been able to do some really great things together through his leadership and through the vision that God had inspired him with, and with his don't quit, can't quit attitude, and he just don't give up. And so, David McGee, he's actually going to be speaking on the panel, "What's a Black Man Role in Creating a Legacy?"
Mm.
Because you think about where we started and where we're at now. We went from being in a space that they had to give it to us for free because we didn't have the resources to pay for it, for a short period of time until we are able to do it. To now, we are building a project down in Rochester, 150, I think it's 159 units of single family resident housing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Mm.
This 9,000 Equities Initiative, this is a $3 billion initiative. 9,000 Black families,
Mm.
tied $300,000 loans.
Mm-hmm.
That's $2.7 billion. This is a $3 billion initiative. We're not talking about, we ain't talking about pocket change. Not at all. And so he's going to be speaking, on the panel, what is a Black man's role in a legacy? Me, myself, I'll be talking about home ownership. Brother Al is going to be actually moderating two panels
Mm-hmm.
there. The top two panels, which is what's the Black man role in creating a legacy for their family,
Mm-hmm.
and what does it mean to have and be a legacy?
Mm-hmm.
Brother Freddie Bell, he's going to be the MC this year. We did make some change at the last minute because we wanted to keep it dynamic. And Tracy William Dillard, and Brother Adair, and Adair is right up under
Michael.
Dyson,
Right.
Dr.
Dr.
Dyson.
Dyson, yeah.
Those two are going to be talking about what does it mean to have a legacy and to be a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy is the recipient, the proud recipient of a legacy that started with her family 2 generations ago.
Mm-hmm.
2 generations ago. And now they're like you, Al, like when you're dealing with people in the media, that's newspaper specifically, we're talking about words,
Mm-hmm.
the written word, the spoken word. We're talking about faith coming by hearing. That's a lot of power. I mean, that's a lot of power, man, where you have the capacity to affect hundreds of thousands of people all in one single swoop based on your written word or your spoken word that you're distributing. And her being a legacy and her being a recipient of a legacy built around the power of the written word and being able to talk about just from a past, present to future. And Adair, he's the new CEO, the chief executive officer of Groundbreak,
Mm-hmm.
which is responsible for bringing, I think it's up to $1 billion now, but I know for certain it's hundreds of millions of dollars into North Minneapolis
Mm-hmm.
to rejuvenate and beautify North Minneapolis to what it's supposed to be. He's building he's planting a seed for building legacies for residents of North Minneapolis and their children and their children's children for generations to come. And so, when you think about that segment, we're covering the past, we're covering the present, and we're covering the future. And the future looks bright. And when you talk about the dim future, you're talking about a bright future. Uh, Bishop Larry Cook, Apostle Larry Cook from Real Believers Faith Center over North Minneapolis. We had that brother in the first summit, and he actually broke down every brother in the summit.
I remember.
I mean,
Yeah, everybody's crying. Everybody's crying.
look, I took my relationship with my father to a whole nother level, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never been better. And it gets sweeter every single last day. I mean, every day. Just based on his word, the power of his word and his testimony about his relationship with his father. And so he's going to be speaking on that panel with David about what is a black man's role in creating a legacy for your family. And we have also Henry Rucker. That dude is everywhere in home ownership. You can't talk about home ownership without bringing up a couple of people's names, and his name is one of them. And so he's going to be speaking about the home ownership piece, building a legacy through home ownership. Trey Adams, very dynamic realist in the Twin Cities, the same thing. He's on the home ownership panel, as well as Sharice Turner. She's the chief of staff, I believe, for Habitat for Humanity. She's going to be covering that segment as well. And then we got the lineup for the insurance agents to talk about what insurance do you really need? Because if you think you only need homeowners insurance and car insurance, hey, if you think that's the only insurance that your family need, I can tell you right now, you got a lot to learn, just like I do. We all got a lot to learn. And hearing from these three people, Davina Baldwin, she's a State Farm insurance agent owner, so she owns her brokerage. Andrew Alexander, she's an independent broker owner for insurance. And brother BJ Wilder, he's from Countrywide Financial Insurance. And then lastly, but not least, we got Lee Lafayette and Arthur Ray McCoy, and these are the state attorney. And the thing I like about these guys, they're extremely passionate about their work, right? But they two totally different people. Like personality. Like their personalities are like two totally different personalities. So a lot of people gonna vibe with Ray because he's very calm, demeanor, but then when I think about Lee, I think about Jonte. I think about that fresh. I think about that youth. I think about that dude who knows everything. I can't say he knows everything that Ray knows because Ray's been in the industry for a much longer period of time, possibly. But in terms of wealth and wisdom, he's Ray 10, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But he's able to relate to, like, I'm going to gravitate to Ray because of his age instantly, right? But my nieces and nephews ain't going to gravitate to Ray. They might actually want to hear from Lee because he in their age group. And he kind of talk the language that he talked. They talk. He listened to the music that they growed up with. He did the dances that they did. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, from a relatability factor, I like the fact that we're covering like the span of age groups for Black men that's in that 30 to 50 range, while yet still having something there, which is what I really love about the Black Men's Legacy Summit, is that it's not just for us, like the older Black men.
Right.
This is a summit for this. You definitely want to bring your kids there because we're talking about legacy, and you can't talk about legacy unless you're talking about the generation behind. You cannot talk about legacy unless because it implies you're talking about them. And so if we're going to be talking about them, we might as well be talking with them. And so you might as well be in the room. And so we want them in the room with you. And the room is really, really tight right now.
Well, and it's a Black Men's Legacy Summit, but Black women are welcome as well. And I think in past years, there were sisters there, as well as the brothers who were the focus of the conversation. So nobody should feel they can't show up or that they're not welcome.
Yeah, and and I'm gonna bring this up because every time somebody bring this up, I'm gonna bring this up, and and the thing I'm gonna bring up is like, and I brought it up to you last time you brought it
You
up,
did.
Al,
You
and
did.
I'm gonna bring it up again because it is now. We're not gonna turn around anybody. I don't care who you are. We're not gonna turn you around as long as we have space. But the thing I'm gonna bring up is this: I've been married now for going on 26 years. And I can tell you that I've dropped my wife off to at least 10 Black women events, and I ain't never ever asked my wife, can I go? Ever. Never, ever, 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 ever. It never came up. And the Black men that I know that's married, it never came up. In fact, there was an event that was taking place not long ago. My buddy, my best friend, and he asked the young lady that he was dating at the time about it. It was a all women's event, all women's conference, which is cool. I have nothing against that, right? I'm totally for it. And the one thing he asked, he said, "Hey, me and my boy Jeff want to go. Can we go?" And you know what she said? Unapologetically, no. I had no intentions of going, and in fact, I didn't even ask. I didn't even know he had even did it. But yeah, so no, we're not going to turn away anybody. But please just do know that the focus is on Black men. There's some things that a Black man can only receive from another Black man. There's just some things, and we can't continue to talk about building up Black men, and then we create things for Black men, but we don't leave room for them to come. And so, so when you think about that part of it, that's the part I really want to make sure that we're driving home, that we're not here. No, my wife is a Black woman, and her husband need to get what they're dishing at the Black Men's Summit so that I can be a better Black husband for her. And if I can't get in because somebody got my seat, then I just did a disservice.
Well, so the answer right now is brothers show up.
Yeah,
and
brothers, show up.
Get your seat. Get your
Come
seat.
on, get your seat, man. Come on,
That's right.
come on, get your seat, man.
And be part of this conversation because it's important and it's timely.
Yeah.
And Jonte, let me pivot to Jonte just a bit. Just go ahead. You have something to say? You want?
Yeah. So
for you as well.
So I want to add to that. So there are a few brothers that's been wait listed. So if somebody can't come, be sure to communicate that, because the list is crazy right now.
Right. Okay. So stand your own kind of, it's like fill list. So Jonte, let me talk about you and your business. What's your background? Are you from Minnesota? Where are you from?
Well, so the family kind of bounced around from Louisiana and Georgia, right? But I came up here about 2004.
Okay. And give me your background. Who's what? Talk about the Washington family. Who's your people? And the reason I'm asking the question is because we're talking about legacy, and you standing on somebody's shoulders, right? And they standing on somebody's shoulders. And I think it's worthwhile for us to always acknowledge those who came before us and the ancestors. And in making that acknowledgement, we begin to also clarify the role that we are playing here and now in creating a legacy for generations to come. Tell you a quick story. And when I think legacy, I'm not thinking about just one generation or two or three, though I am. I'm thinking about, and I'm encouraging people to think about 5 generations, 7 generations, 9 generations, 100 generations. How do we fix our minds to imagine that what we are thinking and doing right now has a consequence 1,000 years from now? You say, Al, that's too big. We shouldn't think that. But no, somebody 2,000 years ago had a thought and did a work that everybody in the Black community for sure is talking about. So that person's walk 2,000 years ago is part of how many of us order our steps today. Therefore,
Mhm.
Brother John Tate, how do we begin to understand the legacy that we're talking about is not just about me and my son, my daughter, and my grand or my great grand. We're talking about our connection to the
Mhm.
infinity, to the Almighty, to both history and the
Yeah.
future. What do you think? I'm dropping a lot on you. Just go ahead and flow with it, man.
Well, you know what? So I think I would be one of the best examples of it's not where you start, it's about where you end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the side of life where, you talk about that generational aspect of it, but I'm actually on the side of life where I have to create my own. We came up here
Mm-hmm.
as a very impoverished family. My mother, my eight siblings, right, came up here from Georgia, right? And we had to restart everything, right? But like I said, I feel as if I'm a prime example of it's not about where you start, it's about where you finish. And being
Mm-hmm.
able to grasp life by the horns, and just receive all the things that God has set out for you to go out there and grab, right? So it's a little different because
Mm-hmm.
I don't come from a generational line of success and things such as that. However, I was given all the tools that I needed in order to put myself in a position. So I'm coming from a place of starting from nowhere, and if
Mm-hmm.
I can do it, surely anybody can.
Mm-hmm. Well, you call it nowhere. I'm going to beg to differ with you
Okay.
with respect, because I think we all come from somewhere, and the
Hmm.
somewhere is important. We tend to kind of play down, but talk about who influenced you in your life. Who is your grandmother, your grandfather to you?
Hmm.
Who are your parents to you? Tell me some stories about the people that created and that shaped John Tay Washington.
Man, so I'm gonna be very transparent. I'm gonna be very candid, right?
Yes,
My
sir.
mom, she has 9 kids. Personally, my father was not in the picture. So when we talk about the need for programs and events such as this, it's very important, especially for brothers like me who grew up with virtually no male influence,
Okay.
right? So events like this, being able to get other brothers around strong men, similar to the comment you made about the perception shift, right? That's wisdom, and
Mm-hmm.
those are the gems and the wisdom pieces that we need to flow down, and it
Mm-hmm.
don't got to be necessarily family wise, right? But
Right.
just
Right.
something so small like that goes such a long way, because now that's a forever gem for me, right?
That's right.
But to go back to influence, I'm kind of self-influenced mixed with the Bible. I
Mm-hmm.
feel as if I've always had faith. God word has always inspired me to do right and do good, and I carry a lot of who I am and my identity, just by clinging very tight to the word of God, to be honest.
So tell me about your company name and
Mhm.
the mantle that you're working under and through in real estate. What are you doing? Talk about your company.
Yep,
And,
yep.
and,
So
and sell,
so
sell a house.
yeah,
Sell
so I
somebody a house. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I am a Twin Cities realtor, and the Twin Cities realtor is my branding. That's what I go by. When it comes down to the cities, I'm very versed, and I do my best to make sure I can, find the best fit for every single family. And other than that, I also focus on something that's going to give you longevity, not
Mm-hmm.
just something that you can buy because it's there. So I like to set up people first and foremost with a budget, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna always start there. Just because you can get it don't mean you should have it. And we don't want no blessings that come with a curse, because it's not a blessing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost, we focus on budgeting. We talk about home ownership, but we also talk about other things like life insurance, right? Not a lot of our community understands the value of life insurance, and when you mix that with your home ownership, being able to purchase a home in your 30s or 40s, and by the time you retire, that's one less housing expense you have to worry about. But now you also have things like your cash value living life insurance policy that you can also leverage through your retirement.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so so I don't look at you're buying a house from me. You're buying a lifestyle from me.
Okay.
And that's what I work with is I work with lifestyles through home ownership.
So, what are the challenges that our people have? What are you discovering? How long have you been doing this? Number one,
Uh-huh.
how long have you been in business? Tell me what some of the highlights have been. Are there some stories that you feel like really reveal, the beauty of the idea, the reason you're in this business, right? And
Yeah.
then there may be some challenges where you have run up against things that knocked you back for a minute.
Mhm.
Talk about that and how you keep moving.
Right, right. I
Is
would
that a
say the
fair question, first of all?
oh yeah, oh yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it's a two-part, but it's very fair.
Okay.
Right. So the first thing I would say, it gives me a lot of passion. Like I said, growing up as an impoverished family who face, homelessness and things like that, to see families being able to purchase their homes, the amount of passion and amount of energy behind that itself to me is just it's just a feeling you can't replace because it gives me a great deal of pleasure. Right. I would say some of the drawbacks is I look at our people and we spend so much money. We spend so much money. And unfortunately, a lot of that money that we spend don't go into things that's going to serve us. So I and this might not be the best response to your question, but I would say my personal drawback is when I just see so much of our community giving to every other community, not reinvesting into ourselves.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
And then we also have the struggle where a lot of folks really do make really good money, but credit, being a slave to the conditioned, retail therapy and things like that, being so consumed by materials that we fail to set up ourselves.
Mhm. Okay, so Jeffrey, jump in, jump in. As you hear this conversation, what I know you're just thinking. I see your wheels turning, right? Because you got stories for days and lessons for days. What are your thoughts?
Just vibing off Jonte. I mean, that's real, and I think one of because when it comes like the credit card debt, that's a financial crisis. That's a nationwide crisis. That's not just impacting Black households, but a lot of households. Because when you think about credit cards and credit being a stumbling block to people being able to get into position where they purchasing assets versus stuff that degrade in value the minute you put it on your back or the minute you step into it versus a house is due to the fact that for most part people looking at their credit cards as though it's an extension of their income when it's not. like the whole credit card theme is based around cognitive dissonance, where it's disassociating you from the idea that it's actually wrong to spend more than you make. Like, like if I gave you $10 and said go in the store and buy $30 worth of stuff, you're gonna look at me and say, "Man, what's wrong with you? You only gave me $10."
Mm-hmm.
And so, but with the credit card gives me this false impression that I actually have more than what I actually make. When and as a result of disassociating ourselves from the science of wrong is wrong, you get me to commit wrong acts willingly and think it's not wrong. In fact, some people use credit cards like emergency money. That ain't emergency money. And
Mm-hmm.
so, this thing that thing it's $1 trillion issue that has negative impacts and ramifications across the country. But the thing that really hurts me the most is that just as it seems that we are getting um, on the right track with getting in position to actually get the legacies for our family, stuff changes.
Mm-hmm. Like what? What do you mean?
So, like, okay, recently there was a change with credit scores, how they calculate the credit scores.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you got a credit card and the limit is $1,000, you can run the limit all the way up to $1,000 as long as you pay it down or pay it off before the cutoff date.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you pay it off before the cutoff date, it's like it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because only what shows up on the cutoff date, and if I pay it down before the cutoff date and get it back to zero, I'm gonna have perfect credit.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was they said, okay, and I'm not saying they're doing it because that's what Black people do. I'm just telling you that the minute I see us making advances,
Mm-hmm.
there's changes. And here was a change that they made. They said, well, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start to report throughout the month.
Mm-hmm.
And not at the end of the month. And so we can catch that $1,000 that you put on there. And before you pay it off, I can destroy your credit with it.
Oh.
Before you pay it off, I can say you maxed out your credit card and bam, I'm going to destroy your credit. Now, people have been doing this since the beginning of the creation of a credit score. This has been a known practice. I've been doing this for this is how you get your credit scores up to 800.
Mm-hmm.
But see, when I start seeing us making advancements, I start seeing stuff change.
Hmm.
And that's one of the changes. When the foreclosure crisis had hit, Al,
Mm-hmm.
when the foreclosure crisis had hit, it used to be that if you had a deferment letter from the student loans, they counted your payment as zero.
Mm-hmm.
But when the interest rates were at their lowest and the housing was at its lowest, guess what they did? They said, no, we're not going to accept that deferment anymore. We want you to have an income-based repayment plan. And so for all the educated Black people that were making fairly well, but had hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans because of their profession, getting a professional degree like a JD or a doctorate or a
Mm-hmm.
master's in whatever, they took that payment and they took that, though you're not making a payment, and they made that and they put it right into your income calculation, and they drastically reduced the amount that you could qualify for, which meant that now, though you have this JD and you're making $100,000 a year plus, because you got $200,000 in student loans, I'm going to put a $2,000 payment in your debt ratios that you're not making.
Yeah.
And they did this right at the turn where the opportunity was its greatest.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Why did you have to do that? You've been doing this for 20 years, and we never had to go do this before. But
So it's like you learn the game, they change the game.
And they keep moving the bar. They just move it. They just keep moving it, man. And I'm not no conspiracy theorist. I just cannot ignore what my eyes see.
Shout out to the Big Cheese S3E. He says in two notes here, and thank you, Big Cheese. Right now, in Houston, Texas, is a buyer's market for residential property. He said he recently purchased a fixer-upper condo downtown Houston for a wholesale price. He also went on to say that, confirming what you all are saying, cash is king. And in Houston, he said, if you're buying a home, it's cash is king. He saved tens of thousands of dollars by having cash. Talk about that, would you, Jonte and Jeffrey? What about cash? What does cash do? Because we're talking about cash versus credit, or cash and credit. Jonte, go ahead.
Yeah. So So right now we've been seeing like a major shift throughout the entire nation, right? As homes became more inflated throughout, COVID time and like that post COVID, it's starting to kind of settle down a little bit more. More options are out there, and because it's more options. Fewer homes are being sold as quickly. So with that being said, the big cheese is right. What we are seeing right now are homes sitting longer, which then usually will transfer to it being a buyer's market. Um, Cash is king, in most cases. But when we talk about home sales and things like that, it's always going to be a bottom line that a seller is going to have, right?
Mhm.
If that cash offer is quick and that meets what the seller wants, or if it's something where it's like, hey, this doesn't meet my bottom line. Because me as a real estate agent, right, if I'm on the sales side, we get cash that rolls through all the time. We take probably a fraction of those.
Okay. Jeffrey?
And another thing, I do agree, with the cash being king, to a certain extent, because it's always going to be the person spending cash. They're looking for discounts. They're looking for
Hmm.
heavy discounts, and so for heavy discounts, you need a motivated buyer. Motivated buyer be somebody who has a lot of equity in their house and they just need to get out and get
Yeah.
going. A motivated buyer could be a person who just inherited a home from their parents
Hmm.
and have no idea, no plan of moving into that property because
Mhm.
they love where they're at and they don't want to take on the responsibility of managing it as a rental property. So yes, me and my brothers, we just want to sell this house and get the equity out as quickly as possible. So the quickest route to the cash becomes makes cash king. But for those who have the patience, cash
Mhm.
ain't gonna necessarily be king because they want all of the money they can get their hands on. So
Yeah.
if I gotta wait another 60 days to get another 10-20% more, then I'm
Yeah.
gonna make that time.
Hmm.
The interesting thing about the market, especially as it relates to being a buyer's market, there's been an uptick in foreclosures. Like they're not talking about this a lot, but there's actually been an uptick with foreclosures. And you typically see an uptick in foreclosure, especially when you see a rise in unemployment,
Hmm.
Mm.
because we're talking about employed people.
Hmm.
Um, in the black community up here, 30% of us own. The
Hmm.
other 70%, they renting.
Hmm.
So, but on the flip side, though, 75% of whites own and 25% rent.
Hmm.
Mm.
So when you start hearing about foreclosure crisis as a result of unemployment, some of that is going to hit us, but
Hmm.
a lot of that's going to hit them as well.
Hmm.
Because the majority, when it comes to the foreclosure crisis, because they make up the larger portion of people who actually own. And this is
But
coming
but
across the
but
board.
Jeffrey, what was the story 10 years ago? We had the big housing bubble, 10, 12 years ago?
Mhm,
And I remember doing our earlier version of this show down to Lucille's Kitchen. Remember? We used to
mhm,
have the public policy forum at Lucille's Kitchen on Plymouth Avenue, down where UROC is now. And then, as often as not, I would have programs where I invited realtors, people that were brokers, to come in and talk about creating, opportunity or people building equity. And at that time, the market was sizzling. People were leveraging and buying and getting ARMs, getting in easy. But when the rates begin to change, the cost for the monthly payment accelerated, and a lot of people got bounced out of their property. So one could say that this entire process was a process that really was wringing wealth out of the Black community. We lost a lot of territory, if I remember correctly. Can you talk about that? And how do we avoid that scenario going forward? If under the present economic scenario, I think white people are desperately hoping that they will maintain what they have. Everybody wants to maintain what they have, but they feel that as part of their entitlement, I believe, right? but I think they are in for a rude awakening as the economy goes further south broadly, as our president and this administration continue to create advantage for the billionaire class, right? They're sucking wealth up out of the general population, and that move to consolidate wealth and power is going to wring a lot of people out of their assets. And there are more people who are white, as you said, who own houses than us, but we'll be affected as well. Am I wrong in describing this scenario this way? What do you think, Jeffrey?
So I won't say that you're wrong. I won't say that you're right. What I can say is that there's a little bit of both on both sides of the spectrum. The when it comes to like the foreclosure crisis that just took place, a great deal of that had to do with the fact that a lot of people had got placed into adjustable rate mortgages who didn't understand what adjustable rate mortgages were. Because for the longest part, adjustable rate mortgages was really what was used by investors who needed the lowest interest rate that they could get because their time frame was a lot shorter. Me, I'm a homebody kind of dude. Like when I moved in my house, that was it. I'm not moving. I'm planting roots right here. So, and for the Black community, at least the Black community that I'm from, we're not transient. We're not all over the place. No, my oldest friends stayed in the same neighborhood forever and ever and ever and ever. They may have moved to different apartments because that's the apartment lifestyle. But for the most part, for those who own, they weren't moving anywhere. We lived there, and this is our neighborhood. Even to this day, we done lost our house, we done sold our house, we don't live there no more, but we still call it our neighborhood. And so now, so a lot of that had to do with the interest rates not keeping up, and plus investors buying garbage loans because you're buying interest rates not keeping up. You got stated loan deals where a person can come in and say, I make $30,000 a month and I'm a lawn manicurist. They come up with these exotic titles, man. No, you just mow the lawn, bro. You're making $10,000 a month mowing the lawn in Minnesota 12 months out of the year. We can't do that. And you don't even have 12 months out of the year that you can mow the grass, period.
Right. Grass ain't growing 12 months, yeah.
So you had all these different things that was taking place. And now, there's a shift, but the shift isn't great enough to trigger what just happened, because that shift will result of like what you would consider like 100-year flood, where you got what everything could go bad and could go wrong, and it goes wrong at the same time. That's what caused that. And so like every single last possible thing that could have went wrong, the mortgage-backed securities weren't being insured, or they were being insured sight unseen by an insurance company that did not have the resources to cover the policies that they were writing. And so,
that money didn't just evaporate. Somebody made some money.
Oh, yeah.
And so the system worked for somebody. Just didn't work for the average person.
Yeah, they call that. That's what they call hedging the market.
Yep.
They hedged the market to fail, and they loaded up on investments, waiting for it to fail, and they turned around and they made a killing. Except when the average person does it. Like the meme stocks, they had the GameStop meme stock a few years ago, and
AMC and all that.
Yeah, and it was driven by one person. It was one person who had caught on what was going on, and he started telling people, "Okay, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to do this." And so they started leveraging, and they started buying up all the shorts and going long. And so all the people, Wall Street, who was holding the stocks, they couldn't sell for an investment because they kept driving the price up. Because Wall Street, they try to buy you can make money buying high and selling, getting the money
Right.
for low and then sell it. So there's a lot of different ways you can hedge it, right? Running shorts and all these different things. And so they couldn't sell it. And so the person hedged the market, and the people that was on his side, they made a lot of money. And a lot of people lost money. In that case, you got a Robin Hood case where it's the little guys that's actually run out the store with the bag, and the big hedge funds people losing billions and billions of dollars. But at that place, that one thing for certain I can tell you is whether the market or the housing market go up or go down, somebody is making a killing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to make a killing, and if you're not in position, you either one or two things. You either the person that's in position to make a killing off of it, or you're the person that just became a victim of what just took place, and you lost everything.
You either at the dinner table or
Or
you
you
on the plate, and you're about to get gobbled up. So how do we avoid that? I think, last year, if not last year, year before last, you all introduced some young people that you had been watching and mentoring and advising. John Tay, it might have been you, that were buying up apartment buildings or creating, multi family opportunities. And what you were saying, if I remember correctly, Jeffrey, is that we simply need to sort of change how we look at the entire package. We shouldn't see ourselves as only a renter, but as owners and as providers of solutions, as opposed to simply a person looking to solve a problem, which we are. I mean, but we have to figure out how do we change our mind and change our approach. And we can decide that, we can do things differently with credit and with counseling and with advice and with a network and analyzing the market, the need, that we can become solution providers for our community's housing and wealth building needs and make money in the process. That was my takeaway from the last two conferences. And you had young people that were just amazing, telling their story about how they got introduced to you and to David, and took your advice and bought one, then bought three, then bought five. Now they building or buying multi-story, multi-unit facilities. How do we get that message out, keep that message going? And by the way, let me say, first of all, as a media person, I want to give you and David and your team at Bill Wolf just massive props, because you all decided early on that it was important to tell the story, to change the narrative, to educate our people. And you decided to work with Al McFarland and McFarland Media and Inside News and our social media platforms to generate awareness, right? That you decided it was worthwhile trying to remove the negative mindset that keeps us crippled and in a position of doubt, and replace that with a can do, will do, must do, and practical, rational, principled approach to being and meeting your responsibilities as a father, as a family man, as a human being. And that those things are not inconsistent, but these are pathways to your personal and cultural development. So I thank you all for recognizing and doing business with my business, a Black business, and valuing the capacity we have to deliver public education, public awareness through our pages on Insight News and through programs like this. So thank you, Jeffrey.
Oh, you're welcome. And for that question, I'm gonna say this briefly, that Brian James Crumble, he's a young brother, man. He looked like the kids I grew up with. And then he ain't a kid, he's a grown man. But he looked like the brothers I grew up with, man. I'm from Chicago, low end, South Side, 43rd, Lake Park, Greenwood. That's where I grew up at. And I can tell you, and when you look at this dude, you would not even imagine that this young brother owns like probably about, I think he's close to 100 units of apartments. But one of the reasons why we had brought on Jonte is because he's been one, he's passionate about what we're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, he's been doing such a great job. At every time I turn around, he's sending me a photo of somebody that he's working with that just purchased a home. And the people that he's sending me photos of, they look like the unusual suspect. They don't look like the usual people that you see purchasing a home. They look like my cousins. they literally look like my cousins and my some of my nieces and nephews, man, and or some of my aunties. And so, how do we keep that going? And how do we inspire it? I think Jonte, he's on the ground, man. How do we do it?
Jonte, how we do it? How you do it, man?
First and foremost, by letting them know you can do it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's been snatched away from us is hope.
Mm-hmm.
You put a small flame beneath some firewood and you come back 20 minutes later, it's gonna be lit. So it's about giving that hope, and once you show somebody, because I don't believe that most people look for handouts as much as they look for opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Once you show somebody, oh, you have the opportunity to do what that usual suspect looks like, they run with it, right? And all it takes sometimes is a little belief. So I
Mm-hmm.
believe in my people, and I let them know I believe in them, and I make sure I make sure that they understand that.
Mm-hmm. Jonte, how do people reach you if they want to buy? Somebody wants to buy a house today, and they need your
Um,
help. How do they connect with you?
you can call me directly, 763-777-1333, or you can shoot me email, Jontae, Jontae, at thetwincitiesrealtor.com.
I'm going to put those in the comment section here, just in case somebody can check on this later on. Let me put it in again. So I'll put Jonte contact, and give me the number again, Jonte.
763
763
777
777
1333.
333. And I'm putting that up first, and then I'll put your email. I'm putting 763-777-1333. Correct?
Yep.
Okay, and then your email, Jonte email.
So it's my first name, Jontae, Jontae,
Mm-hmm.
at the Twin
At
Cities
the Twin Cities.
Realtor.com.
You read it. Jontae at the Twin Cities Realtor.com.
Yep.
So, people, here's the man, here's the guy. Call him up. you in the market. Your mama, your cousin, your nephew, your neighbor, somebody been thinking about it. Move it from a thought to action. And here is the person that can help you. And beyond that, he's connected to Jeffrey and a phenomenal team, a resource called Build Wealth Minnesota. Together, they are promising to put 9,000 people into home ownership. That's what building wealth is all about in our community. And it's reducing the gap of wealth between our people and the general market. I think that what Jeffrey and Brother McGee are saying, and what Jonte is saying, is that we can and we will,
Yes,
and that
sir.
we must, and that we are doing this work right now. Well, brothers, thank you so much. Jeffrey, let me have you invite people again, those who haven't got, at least to be aware. And if they can't get in, be ready for the next one, or at least call the organization and meet the stakeholders, the partners.
So the event, the 9,000 Equities Black Men's Legacy Summit 4, is taking place this Saturday, October 25th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. In our building, the Thor Regional Acceleration Center. That's at 1256 Penn Avenue North, Minneapolis, Minnesota, on the 5th floor. Again, it's 1256 Penn Avenue North, Minneapolis, Minnesota, on the 5th floor.
All right. Well, listen, and if somebody listen wants to hit up John Tay, let me know that you made the connection, because I want to commission John Tay. If I deliver some things for you, I want to do business with you, man. I'm saying that jokingly, but I'm not at the same time. I want to work with you business wise. And the principle is, how do we work together? And I can tell you that I am working with Jeffrey and build wealth. But my interest and my desire is to figure out how to create a relationship that's beneficial to you, your mission, that makes you money and makes me money, and that grows the economic vitality, the wealth of our community. With that, I want to thank you both and just appreciate you. What a wonderful conversation. And it's so good to be with you. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Al.
Very welcome.
I'm Al McFarland. We're good.